guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm kind of sad actually because I was going to film a stargazing video because I love to go out and look at the stars. It's just one of my favorite things, but it's currently storming here. So I can't do that. So instead I'm going to talk about one of my other favorite things, reading. So I thought today I would do like a little book talk. So I picked out 7 of some of my favorite books and I thought I'd tell them to you guys, explain a little bit. So if you're in a little bit of a slump and you need a good book to read, I've got some options for you. So let's get right into these books. Okay, so if you watched my video, The Facts About Me, you'll know that I love Alice in Wonderland and I love The Queen of Hearts especially. So I love books that takes like that story and twists it. So I actually have 3 books kind of like that because I read so many. Like I see something that's like Alice in Wonderland and a new thing and I immediately buy it. So if you have any good recommendations for those kind of books, leave them down below because I would love to read them. But first off, I'm going to start with one of the first Alice in Wonderland like remake type things that I ever read. So this book is Alice in Zombieland. It's called The White Rabbit Chronicles, if you were wondering, and I believe there are 4 books out. I don't think she's made any more. Yeah, so this is Alice in Zombieland by Jenna Showalter, and on the cover it says "Off with their heads." But I will read the back for you now. She won't rest until she's sent every walking corpse back to its grave forever. Had anyone told Alice Bell that her entire life would change course between one heartbeat and the next, she would have laughed. But that's all it took. One heartbeat, a blink, a breath, a second, and everything she knew and loved was gone. Her father was right. The monsters are real. To avenge her family, Allie must learn to fight the undead. To survive, she must learn to trust the baddest of the bad boys, Cole Holland. But Cole has secrets of his own, and if Allie isn't careful, those secrets might just prove to be more dangerous than zombies. No, but this is a really good book, and I really loved the series. Now, the back sounds a little cliche with the whole, like, baddest bad boy, but it's really good, and Cole Holland has purple eyes, which is also really cool. So I remember me and my best friend from middle school, we were obsessed with him. Like, we just absolutely loved him, and we loved this series, and we just waited every second for the next book to come out. But this is a really good series, and I really recommend it. If you like Alice in Wonderland books, you would definitely like this. And if you like kind of zombie type things, I would recommend it. It's not very gory, though, if I remember correctly. It's just a good book. It's a really good book, so I definitely will put this on the top of my list. So next up is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now, she's also written the Lunar Chronicle series, which I also adore, but I didn't grab those today. But so this is a solo book, if I believe. I don't believe she's planning on writing any more in this type of series, but this is amazing, and it's another like retelling of the Queen of Hearts story. So this is kind of like from the villain's perspective. So I will read the back of the, well, not the back of the book, the inside little cover. Catherine may be one of the most desired girls in Wonderland and a favorite of the unmarried king, but her interests lie elsewhere. A talented baker, she wants to open a shop and create delectable pastries. But for her mother, such a goal is unthinkable for a woman who could be a queen. At a royal ball where Kath is expected to receive the king's marriage proposal, she meets a handsome and mysterious Jest. For the first time, she feels the pull of true attraction. At the risk of offending the king and infuriating her parents, she and Jest enter into a secret courtship. Kath is determined to choose her own destiny, but in a land thriving with magic, madness, and monsters, fate has other plans. So this is a really good book. I remember I couldn't put this down. It was so good, and it's so interesting how she incorporates all the tales from the classic get incorporated in here, and it's just really good. And the Jabberwock's a big thing, so that's really cool. And the story is so well written. I just can't explain it otherwise. It's so good, and I love this so much. This is obviously different than the Alice in Zombieland book. This is going to be more of like your traditional Alice in Wonderland world with the craziness and the different we're all mad here stuff, but it's a really good book, and it's really interesting to find, like, take her perspective, and it kind of almost explains why the Queen of Hearts is so evil. It's her backstory. It's what drove her to constantly be saying "off with our heads," which I really like, and I really like the Queen of Hearts, so this is a really good book. Okay, so my last Queen of Hearts story is called Queen of Hearts. So this is by Colleen Oakes, and this is another series. There are 3 books in the series, and they're really cool. They all have all the covers have like a card on here with her on it, and they're different colors. So there's white, black, and red. And so this first one is Queen of Hearts, and it says evil is rising in Wonderland. So this is another story where it's going to do like the backstory of the Queen of Hearts. So it's going to explain that and kind of give her reasoning why she became evil and set off with her heads. Very similar to Marissa Meyer's, but this has a completely different storyline, and I think both books are amazing. And I really like this storyline also because it's very different from the other one. So I'll read the back of this book for you. Only queens with hearts can bleed. This is not the story of the Wonderland we know. Alice has not fallen down a rabbit hole. There is no all-knowing cat with a taunting smile. This is a Wonderland where beneath each smile lies a secret. Each tart comes with a demand, and only prisoners tell the truth. Diana is the princess who will one day reign over Wonderland. She has not yet seen the dark depths of her kingdom. She longs only for her father's approval and a future with the boy she loves. But when a betrayal breaks her heart and threatens her home, she is launched into Wonderland's dangerous political game. Diana must stay one step ahead of her cunning enemies, or she'll lose not just the crown, but her head. Evil is brewing in Wonderland, and maybe, most frighteningly, in Diana herself. This is not a story of happily ever after. This is the story of the Queen of Hearts. So this is a really good book. It's so interesting, and the way this author, I think, even does even better job than Marissa Meyer in incorporating the, like, actual story of Alice in Wonderland into it. So, like, there's so many little details that if you don't know that much about Alice in Wonderland, you might not pick up on, but if you are a true fan of Alice in Wonderland, you will pick up on all of them. It's so good. And it's a different story than Marissa Meyer. So Marissa Meyer's, hers is, she's a lady of high established court, and so the king comes courting, but this one, she's the princess set to inherit the crown from her father. It's her whole journey and what happens to her, and there's heartbreak, and there's love, and there's magic. It's so good. I adore this book, and it's got some really awesome girl power in it, and it's really good. So there's 3 books in this series, which is great. Amazing. Love it. Yes. I have one more fantasy book. I just realized I picked kind of a good solid 4 books that are all retellings of like classic fairy tales, but that's okay. So my last fantasy book is called Stepsister, and it is by Jennifer Donnelly. This is a really good book. So on the cover you can see the glass slipper from Cinderella, because this is a retelling of the Cinderella story, but I shouldn't say that. It's not a retelling of the story. What it is it starts off after Ella is taken and she is married to the prince and she becomes queen and all that, and it's one of the stepsisters' story after, and what she's dealing with in life afterwards. And so this takes on actually the Grimm fairy tale version. So if you can tell, in this glass slipper there's blood in it, and that's because in the actual like Grimm fairy tale story, the stepsisters, one of them cuts off her heel and one of her cuts off her toe. So it's gonna follow the story of the sister who cuts off her toe. On the cover it says, "Beauty isn't always pretty," and then on the back it says, "Don't just fracture the fairy tale, shatter it." So that gives you a little bit of a hint about what this book is going to be about, but I will read the inside cover for you. Isabel should be blissfully happy. She's about to win the handsome prince. Except Isabel isn't the beautiful girl who lost the glass slipper and captured the prince's heart. She's the ugly stepsister who cut off her toes to fit into Cinderella's shoe, which is now filling with blood. When the prince discovers Isabel's deception, she's turned away in shame. It's no more than she deserves. She cut away pieces of herself in order to become pretty, sweet, more like Cinderella. But that only made her mean, jealous, and hollow. Now she has a chance to alter her destiny and prove what ugly stepsisters have always known. It takes more than heartache to break a girl. So this is a really good story, and it's about her finding herself again. It goes into the past, and it's really interesting how it's set up, actually. So in the beginning, when I first picked this up, I was very confused because in the beginning it starts with like the 3 fates and a boy named Chance, and they make a deal, and he says, "I think I can change her life," and he's talking about Isabel's. So it kind of does that. So it switches between her point of view, Chance's point of view, the fate's point of view. It's really interesting, and there's it's the magic of the Cinderella tale, but darker, which I really like, and I think it's really good. It's a good like girl power book, and I think this is a really good retelling, and she did an amazing job. I read this in like 2 days. It was so good. So they're all my fantasy books. So I have 3 books left to talk about today. So the next book I have is Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls, and it is by Lynn Weingarten. Now I have read 2 of her books, and I really like them. It does deal with some touchier subjects. From the title it says Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls. Secrets tie you together, Delilah said. Her eyes were bright and beautiful, and when June looked into them, she knew Delilah was right. She could feel those secrets wrapping around her, holding her. She hoped Delilah would never, ever let her go. So then here's the inside cover. They say Delilah burned herself to death in her stepfather's shed. They say it was suicide, but June doesn't believe it. June and Delilah used to be best friends in that way that comes before everyone else. Before guys, before family. It was like being in love, except more. They had an infinite number of secrets, tying them together like thin silk cords. But one night, a year ago, everything changed. June, Delilah, and June's boyfriend, Ryan, were just having a little fun. The good time got out of hand, and in the cold blue light of morning, June knew only this. Things would never be the same again. Now Delilah's dead. June is certain she was murdered, and she owes it to her to find out the truth, which is far more complicated than she ever could have imagined. So this is a mystery, obviously. So it goes in with the story of the girl and her best friend has, as the police have reported, has killed herself. But she doesn't think that she has, because she doesn't think that Delilah is the type of girl who would have done that. So it goes along on her, like, hunting for a mystery to try to figure out what actually happened to her best friend. And then it also delves into what happened to them to make them stop speaking for a while. So it's really good. I really recommend this book. I read this in like 8th grade and I really enjoyed it. So the next book is amazing, and I read this in literally like a day. So this is The Cellar by Natasha Preston. Now this is her first novel that she ever published, but I have gotten all of her books ever since, and I just love them. They're so amazing. So this book, oh, it's so good. I just want everyone to read it because it's just amazing. Oh, I love it. So I'll read the back for you. Lily? My stomach dropped as a tall, dark-haired man stepped into view. Had he been hiding between the trees? No, sorry. Gulping, I took a step back. I'm not Lily. He shook his head, a satisfied grin on his face. No, you are Lily. I'm Summer. You have the wrong person. You utter freak? I could hear my pulse crashing in my ears. How stupid to give him my real name. He continued to stare at me, smiling. It made me feel sick. You are Lily, he repeated. Before I could blink, he threw his arms forward and grabbed me. I tried to shout, but he clasped his hand over my mouth, muffling my screams. My heart raced. I'm going to die. For months, Summer is trapped in a cellar with the man who took her and 3 other girls, Rose, Poppy, and Violet. His perfect, pure flowers. His family. But flowers can't survive long cut off from the sun, and time is running out. So this is a really, really good book. I loved this book too. It's creepier because he kidnapped these girls. And so it's about, it follows Summer's point of view and her boyfriend's point of view, and then it also follows the man who kidnaps them points of view. I believe his name is Clover, if I remember correctly. So Lewis is the boyfriend. Clover is the kidnapper. But it's really good. So it starts off in, so she's kidnapped, and they're all trying to find her. And this Clover guy, he has some problems, and so he believes that he needs a perfect, pure, flowered family to make himself whole. So he hides them away in a cellar, and he like makes it look like a home, but it's down in his basement, and it's her dealing with being kidnapped and trying to survive, and trying to become friends with these other 3 girls who are down in the cellar with her and try to save themselves. And then her boyfriend is trying to find her because he knows she's not dead, and it's really good. It's flashes to the past a little bit, and then it's got the present. It's super good. I really enjoyed this book. It's super good. I recommend this. I can't praise this book enough. All these books I absolutely adore because that's why I picked them, because I love them, and this book is definitely a really good one. And the last book for today is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. So look how cute this cover is, though. So this book is gay. I love this so much. It's so good. Okay, I'll read the cover for you. 3 years ago, Tanner Scott's family relocated from California to Utah, a move that nudged the bisexual teen temporarily back into the closet. Now, with 1 semester of high school to go and no obstacles between him and out-of-state college freedom, Tanner plans to coast through his remaining classes and clear out of Utah. But when his best friend Autumn dares him to take Provost High's prestigious seminar, where honor roll students diligently toil to draft a book in the semester, Tanner can't resist defying his better judgment and having a go, if only to prove to Autumn how silly the whole thing is. Writing a book in 4 months sounds simple, 4 months is an eternity. It turns out Tanner is only partly right. 4 months is a long time. After all, it takes only a second for him to notice Sebastian Brother, the Mormon prodigy who sold his own seminar novel the year before and who now mentors the class. And it takes less than a month for Tanner to fall completely in love with him. So this is a really good book. It deals with some issues. So the boy that Tanner falls in love with is Mormon. And in the Mormon community, they don't accept gay people. So it's that struggle and to figure out what they're going to do and all that. So if you can see on the top of the book, it's got the two of them holding hands. And so it's really good. And it deals with a lot of important issues. And it's just really interesting. I enjoyed this book a lot. It made me cry. It made me laugh. I was smiling, crying at the end. It was super good. I could not put this book down. This is a very important read, I think. It sheds a lot of light on some issues. And it's just amazingly written. And it's really interesting type thing because he's writing a book while he's falling in love. And he is closeted again, which is hard for him. This book is really good and I recommend it. So those are all the books I had to talk about today. I love every single one of those, and if you've read any of them, let me know down below and tell me what you thought without any spoilers, because I would love to talk books with you guys. And if you want to know what books I'm currently reading or what books I have recently read, check out my Goodreads because I put all my book stuff on there so you can see that and what I thought of some books that I recently read. And let me know if you want another one of these book talks. I have so many books that I would love to just talk about, so let me know. I really hope any of these books spark some interest for you and you want to read them. Give this video a like if you liked it. Don't forget to comment down below what book you might be interested in trying, and subscribe to my channel to get more content from me. I believe next week is going to be an Owl Crate video because I just got an email saying that my box has shipped and it's supposed to be here Monday. It's currently Saturday when I'm filming this, so fingers crossed that I get to film that next week because I'm super excited for that, so stay tuned for that. And if you want notifications for every time I upload, make sure to hit that little notification bell and you'll get notified every single time I upload. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!